What dark secret are you hiding from everyone? My brother and I did a 23andMe. We discovered we have a half-sibling, same father, who is older than us. I messaged them but no reply. Since the half-sibling is older, it was during my father's military career, which was short-lived because he got a dishonorable discharge that he hides from his family still. Kind of similar story here. 6 years ago when I was 24, my mom randomly told me I have an older half-sister that my dad completely abandoned. She only knew of my sister's mother's name, so I searched for her on Facebook and found my sister. She is the spitting image of our father, so I knew immediately it was true. Both my sister and her mom confirmed it, and my sister and I immediately started bonding. We are incredibly close now. My father's side was overjoyed when I found her, as they knew of her but never what happened to her. We've all welcomed her with open arms, except my father. When she reached out to him, he essentially told her to fuck off, then screamed at me that she wasn't my sister, and continues to call me the bitch that ruined the family. Her and I did 23andMe and we matched as half-siblings, so now there's no denying it. I lost a shitty father but gained an incredible sibling that means 10x more to me. I was molested on a cruise ship by an employee when I was 8. Happened about 30 years ago. I had an IBS attack once and had to violently shit in a church grounds behind someone's car. Used underwear to wipe too and left that there. Not proud. Not a huge secret in comparison to some of these answers, but I feel the guilt of it often. After my fiancé passed, I napped all the time for over a year. My aunt was calling me one day and I just denied her call, went back to napping. It was my aunt calling because my grandma, who was very sick with cancer, wanted to say happy birthday a day before my birthday. Grandma died the next day. I should have picked up the damn phone. She still loved you and just wants you to be happy. It's okay to not be okay, and sometimes we miss important things for that reason. Fuck, I'm so sorry. My grandma died of cancer and I feel the guilt of not talking to her enough too. It's not your fault. I'm here with you. I'm sure your grandma understood. This first part isn't exactly dark, but when I was a kid around 9 or so, my cousin who was 12 at the time would make out with me. I didn't really know better at that age but thought I'd be in trouble if I talked about it. For whatever reason, about 6 years went by before I saw him again and it was never brought up. Never mentioned. He was like a totally different person. I sometimes wonder if it even happened. My memory isn't very reliable and it was so long ago now, I'm in my 20s. Fast forward a little bit more and I found out he died a couple years ago while cleaning a gun. Accidentally shot himself. My great-aunt, who's his grandma and who basically raised him, believes wholeheartedly that it was an accident. But I suspect it wasn't. He grew up around guns and knowing how they work and how to empty them and everything. I find the odds that he accidentally forgot to empty the chamber pretty low. I also know he was struggling with depression and brain damage from a car accident a year prior. But I won't tell my aunt any of this. I think it would break her heart. Edit. About the first part, I don't really know how I feel about it nowadays. It's just a thing that happened. I struggled with some weird, negative emotions about it for a while, but it's so far gone in the past, and I live half a country away that it's easier to just not think about it. About the second, I know accidentally shooting yourself is more common than it seems, but I have plenty of reason to believe it was suicide. I don't really want to break down the paragraphs of details, but he had a pretty massive accident a year prior, leaving him with brain damage, and it messed up a lot of his goals in life. That plus the depression he dealt with and other factors, I think it was suicide. I hope it wasn't. I owe the bank $100K. Hey bud, I think they know. And they will never ever forget. Never. One of my closest co-workers, who is an integral part to our very large corporation, killed a man in his late teens and threw the body in a lake. He only got off on a technicality. I work remotely, so I don't build a lot of personal relationships with people I work with regularly. I googled his full name. It freaked me out at first. But I've kinda gotten over it. I wonder if anyone else knows. It happened 40 plus years ago. He will retire soon and then I might ask another coworker about it. I just don't want to stir the pot. Did you know Bernie from accounting is a murderer? A murderer of fun? Yeah, I knew. Oh, okay. When I was around 5 or 6, my mom and dad were fighting just about every day. Well, I was napping on the couch when my mom came in very upset and she shook me awake. She asked me if I saw the girl my dad brought home. I've always felt terrible for this BC. I hadn't seen anyone but my dad that whole day. I'm pretty sure he was just playing video games like usual, but for some reason in my sleepy kid brain I answered yes. I said she was with him in their room. I'm honestly not sure why I lied like that, but they got a divorce shortly after, and I always felt like it was my fault. Until I recently found out my little sister is actually my half-sister, but that's a whole other story. Edit. For clarification, my dad had been cheating with my mom's sister and my mom was cheating with one of their friends to get back at him. She thought he was cheating with a different girl but found out later it was my aunt. Honestly, their relationship was on its way out. I don't feel bad about it now since a few years ago we found out my little sister is my half-sister from the affair my mom had. Therapists specifically advise against asking young kids questions like this because kids will seek their parents' approval to the point of lying if they think that's what the parents want to hear. Your mother was expecting you to say yes, so it wasn't that you lied out of nowhere, it was that you went along with what you thought she wanted you to say. It's shitty of a parent to put a young child in that position in the first place. Also, it sounds like divorce might have been the best outcome for that relationship anyway. I fell off a roof at work yesterday. I fell about 8 to my side and head. I was rushing and was being overconfident. I told my partner I fell on ice because she worries that I work alone. I could have died and no one would have known where I was until my body started to stink. Edit update. To everyone advising me to seek help, I have. I just received a CT scan and several rays on my arm and I am in the hospital awaiting results. I am an insured Canadian independent contractor. I have both private insurance and BSIB. Thank you everyone for the concern and advice. Edit update 2. CT scan results clear. No bleeding or other signs of trauma or abnormalities. Fracture to elbow occult. Been in the hospital for 5 hours, so very hungry. Hey, you seriously need to go to the hospital. I tripped and fell on my head about a year ago and had to be rushed to the ER, even though I felt like I was fine. I wasn't. Turned out, I had a bunch of fast-acting hematomas that were pressing on my skull. Had to have emergency surgery, was out for 2 days, and spent another 3 days in the hospital. Please, at least go get yourself checked out. Head injuries are absolutely no joke, it's something you really need to be concerned about. Listen to this. Some hematomas develop gradually. Absolutely worth getting a CT. Everyone in my family is bragging me with the fact that I don't want to date girls anymore and think that I'm strange or gay. But I lost my girlfriend, which I assume I could have a good life with her. She committed suicide and I never talk about that with them. I know I can speak with some members of my family, but my parents are different. Edit. Thank you so much guys for your kindness, but I don't want to discuss that at the moment with someone. It will bring back some memories that will make me more depressed than before. If your family know about your dead girlfriend and still make fun of you, then they're just a bunch of cunts. My grandpa was stationed in Okinawa, Japan during the Korean War, while in the Marines. He hooked up with a woman there, and she got pregnant. So, I have a Japanese aunt and a few cousins, in Japan, whom I've never met before. Hank? Hank Hill? I've been accessory to both my parents' infidelity. At age 5 my mother cheated on my dad while he was deployed and my brother told me what was happening and that I shouldn't tell anyone. My father slept with his secretary 2 years later, for a few years, and would even bring me on dates with her, telling my mother we were going to the movies. He took me to her house and had her roommate watch me while they went out or just hung out in her room. They're still married. I don't know if either know the other did the thing or if they still are doing the thing. Edit. To everyone saying maybe they're in an open or poly relationship, sure maybe they are, but I doubt it considering their views on most everything. Also, if they were in one, then they should have explained it to us instead of sneaking around and telling us not to tell the other parent, and maybe don't bring your kid on your house dates. So yeah, maybe they were, but if they were then emo, their behavior goes from shitty for involving their kids in their infidelity to shitty that they involved their kids in a lifestyle without explaining it to them and making their kids think that they were cheating on each other. There is a chance they both know and just stay together for the kids. Exactly. My parents decided to stay together for 21 years. I wish they would have just gotten it over with when they were struggling and I was younger. Now I just feel like my entire childhood was a lie. My adopted sister knows her birth mother died in a freak accident. She doesn't know the cause of death was beheading. I worked with a guy that was a first responder to the accident. If it was a freak accident, it's better to use decapitation instead of beheading. Not trying to be that guy, but beheading I think usually implies it was purposeful and decapitation is usually accidental. I upvoted you because I had the same exact response. Unless op meant they lied about the incident and it was actually a freak beheading. Like that guy on the Greyhound bus in Canada, most people in my family think that my mother recently died suddenly from complications due to cancer, but she really died from the toxic effects of oxycodone, morphine, fentanyl, and methamphetamine. Seems as though she just had herself a secret death party. Not including the meth, but this is more common than you think with chronic cancer patients. My mother was on all of that her last weeks. She had a morphine pumped straight into her vein to alleviate the pain. I wasn't really prepared for an inbox of immense suffering. Nice to know one's not alone, I guess. My wife and I aren't officially married. No one knows. We had a ceremony and everything, reception. The whole 9 yards. We just never did the official paperwork. We realized that since she's going back to school, it benefits her financially to go through financial aid as single rather than married. When she finishes up, we're going to head over to town hall and finish the last step. Lots of people do this, at least where I live, big college town. Financial aid is a big factor for people. And it definitely is better to be single. Doesn't actually mean you aren't married. Just that you found a way to show you love each other and that you are able to compromise with finances. Congratulations and hope you a long and happy relationship. I've got some friends who did the opposite. They got married for health insurance and didn't tell anyone, then had the public ceremony a couple years later. I only know because I performed the ceremony and they had to explain why I didn't need to do any paperwork. Ever since my daughter took her own life, I have been hiding how much pain I'm really in. My family is beyond dysfunctional, so it would create more crap for me to deal with. Although, I did tell my mom to gargle donkey balls yesterday and that made me feel slightly better. My ex-wife, the mother of my 3 kids, and the first love I ever had, committed suicide 2.5 years ago. I've been trying to be strong for my kids, and help them through it. I'm still completely fucked up over it, and haven't had the chance to really mourn yet. It's awful, but my kids need me strong and here for them. I'm living with my mom right now cause she's going near cancer, but to be honest, I can't wait to see her go. It sounds horrible, but I'd rather see her go than see her suffer even more. It's not like I would get anything out of her will, it's more like it sucks cause she's always in pain and seeing her like that brings me pain. Edit. Thank you everyone for your responses. I felt so alone on this for a long time. She's still fighting a long battle, but it's just getting worse every day. I appreciate the help that everyone has offered. It really helps a lot. Thank you. Visit us at r/cancer family support if you ever need to talk. Edit. Thank you so much for the awards, truly, but please donate towards your local cancer charity instead. I created the sub while my mom was dying of colon cancer, and I'm glad it's helping people going through the same thing. Get your colonoscopies. When I was around 9 years old, I used my mom's credit card to sign up my shitty alcoholic stepfather for a porn website in hopes of starting a fight and her leaving him. For your info, she did leave after another year or so. Current stepdad is a real keeper. Holy shit, that's really clever. Good plan for a 9-year-old, TBH.